Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to join you today. I'm glad to have my colleagues Supesh from the Digital Technology Supercluster and Julien Bilot from Scale I joining me. Let me tell you a little bit about Canada's superclusters, and then each of us will speak to the role of AI in our particular superclusters, what we're trying to achieve, and maybe some of the examples of some of the activities and initiatives that we are undertaking that involve industrial applications of AI. So if you could change the first slide, please. The Canadian government announced that it was going to form 5 innovation superclusters in 2018 and committed in a first round of funding close to 1 billion Canadian dollars in support of these superclusters, where the idea is really to leverage Canada's technology, research, workforce strengths, and industrial capabilities to find new applications of technologies that are really world-leading applications and scale-up of technologies and technology companies, commercialization of technologies in world-leading applications in very critical sectors of the Canadian economy. Next slide, please. The objective of the supercluster is really to accelerate the development, application, scale up of advanced technologies in these key sectors. We have a number of objectives in encouraging more business investment and innovation, developing new business opportunities within Canada as well as internationally, supporting small companies and particularly the scale up of small businesses, of course creating new job opportunities and supporting workforce development, and also building connections and collaboration across these strategic innovation ecosystems. Each of the superclusters have taken on this role, focusing on their particular areas of application. As I was mentioning, the objective is really to leverage our strengths, our capabilities, to build something that is world-leading. So our initiatives are intended to be industry-led. They're intended to be collaborative. So all of our initiatives must involve more than one company, and all of our initiatives need to involve at least one small business. They need to be applied, so really focusing on later stage development of technology, applications in industry, and applications with significant commercial potential. And I think each of us are focusing on initiatives that are enduring. So focusing on how do we strengthen these innovation ecosystems, build skills, share opportunities to commercialize IP, provide support for startups, for business management of smaller companies, and enhance innovation management. I don't think it's any surprise that AI plays a key role in applications of most digital solutions today, and applications in industry. It's a key technology, a key tool to building world-leading capabilities now and in the future. And so each of us have a number of projects we can speak to, and I think speak to some of the trends we're also seeing in Canadian industry. And I think the lessons that we're learning in Canada are probably applicable on a global basis as well. AI is one of the technologies in a number of new digital technologies that are having a major difference in through applications in industry and other applications, but really changing the nature of business right around the world. So let's go to the next slide, please. With respect to the supercluster that I lead, which is Next Generation Manufacturing Canada, Ngen, our supercluster is focused on building world-leading advanced manufacturing capabilities in Canada and for the benefit of Canadians. So we're focusing on promoting Canadian capabilities in research, in technology, as well as in our manufacturing capabilities and our workforce skills. These are some of the world's best hidden secrets, and they're some of Canada's best hidden secrets as well. We have, with respect to AI, tremendous capability, particularly in terms of research. Many of the founding fathers of artificial intelligence are based in Canada, doing research in Canada, and have been doing that for a number of years here. But we also have technology companies that are either specializing in AI or specializing in technologies that are themselves dependent on AI, and of course a number of manufacturing companies that are implementing these solutions in their operations to build customer value as well as to improve their operations. So promotion is an important thing. The other thing that we're focusing on is really connecting and building collaboration across the ecosystem, across the advanced manufacturing ecosystem. I think today, I'm convinced that you don't build unique world-leading advanced manufacturing capabilities unless you are operating collaboratively. I don't think any company has what it takes today to build those world-leading capabilities on their own. And that's particularly the case with AI. I don't think any company is looking to simply apply, or any manufacturing company at any rate, is simply looking for a company that can provide the technology around AI. I think that, of course, comes with sensors, with data, with cybersecurity, with robotics, with automation. AI is one tool in a toolbox of many technologies that are part of advanced manufacturing today. And so that ability to build collaborative solutions is essential, I think, to building world-leading capability in advanced manufacturing. We are providing close to $250 million in direct support for industry-led initiatives, collaborative initiatives that are transforming manufacturing processes in Canada, or developing and scaling up new manufacturing processes. And AI is integral to a number of those initiatives. But we also spend a lot of time looking at what it takes to build a modern, advanced manufacturing workforce and advanced manufacturing management capabilities. I don't think it's any surprise. I think most manufacturers around the world know that technology itself is only part of what it takes to be an advanced manufacturing company today. It's really how the technologies are used, how they're managed, how business objectives are achieved, what the business requirements are, what the skills requirements are to support the application and the development and scale up of technologies. That's what really counts, and that's the companies that can manage technology the best are the ones that will be world leading. I'm convinced of that, and a number of our projects that we're supporting, we spend as much time focusing on the management of the projects and the management of the companies, on how companies create value for their customers and their customers' customers, and how they can use technology to drive value as well as improve productivity here. But it's really the management, the skill sets, the people, and the processes that count. The technology certainly drives much more in terms of capability today than ever before. But it's pretty useless without the underlying skills, the underlying business processes, and certainly the new business models that need to underlie a modern manufacturing enterprise and value chain. So just to give you some examples of where the projects that we're supporting, where AI is an integral part of those projects. we are supporting an accelerator, a materials characterization and testing accelerator, where AI is playing an important role, as well as, of course, automated testing and robotics center there that can rapidly characterize and test materials, whether those materials are powders for additive manufacturing or structural materials, or other types of materials that are being developed today, from applications from flexible electronics all the way through to pharmaceuticals and therapeutics. One of the applications of that Rapid Materials Characterization Center was the rapid development of particles to support Gilead's remdesivir drug manufacturing, and I expect this is going to speed up and increase the volume of production for that company, and production based in Canada. We have a number of autonomous vehicles projects, whether cars or heavy vehicles, forklifts, another interesting application of autonomy in vehicles. A number of process transformation projects, everything from biologics through to steel, the digitization of hot ladle steel manufacturing in Canada, food, applications in new aerospace processes as well. The personalization of medical devices and therapeutics is an important one. Everything from from the use of facial recognition to design N95 masks that actually fit. These are the masks that are really in short supply, through to the personalization of orthopedic implants for children's surgery. Collaborative robotics, clearly this is an important application, as well as other applications in predictive solving problem solving, especially around technology deployment. All of these are projects that include AI, but they also include applications of sensors, applications of automation, of robotics, of cybersecurity, clearly of connectivity and other digital technologies as well. But AI is really playing a key role. And just let me finish up by saying, what I see is a trend in the applications of artificial intelligence in manufacturing, from what I would call rapid logic to prediction, and then beyond prediction to intelligent and collaborative products and processes. And I think that really does change the business model in manufacturing. It makes it much more like a technology company in a way that products and processes are no longer depreciate once you drive them off a lot. Products and processes gain value. They appreciate in value as a result of the fact that they're learning as they're being used, and that revolutionizes the business of manufacturing. Here, it really underlies the fact that products are becoming more like platforms for the application of and the development and delivery of services, and particularly with products and processes that learn as they're being used. I think this is really changing the nature of high value manufacturing, and in my mind, that's the future of manufacturing for the Canadian economy, and where Canada, I think, has a number of world-leading capabilities and opportunities to apply these technologies and apply these capabilities to commercialize on a global scale. So let me leave it at that, and I'm going to pass the presentation over to Sue Paish, who's my colleague at the Digital Supercluster.
Thanks, Jay, and thank you everyone for inviting us to participate today. It's always a privilege to share a stage with Jay and Julianne. And even more so knowing that a large number of people that are participating in this conference are in the Asia Pacific region and beyond. And I'm sure a number of you will have seen the report that came out today from the European Centre for Digital Competitiveness, which has scanned the competitiveness from a digital technology perspective across the world and has noted that Canada has moved to number 3 in the G7 and number 7 in the G20. And in its report, the European Centre for Digital Competitiveness has noted the Innovation Supercluster Initiative as one of the drivers of Canada's progression in its competitiveness in digital technologies. I've got a few comments to make about the Digital Technology Supercluster. I'm not going to repeat what Jay has said about our Innovation Supercluster Initiative overall, and thank you for making those comments. So if we could move to the next slide, that would be terrific. Super. Thank you very much. So I'm going to start with our purpose. So in the Digital Supercluster, we exist to solve some of society's and industry's biggest problems. And it's that complex and it's that simple. The vehicle that we use for solving these problems is based on 2 elements: collaborative innovation and co-investment. Collaborative innovation, as Jay has alluded to, in our supercluster, that means bringing organizations together that wouldn't normally sit together or be together to examine these problems or these issues and to listen to each other in developing solutions, with the outcome being that through listening to each other and through collaborative innovation, we will come up with solutions better than any single organization could come up with on its own. The second element there of co-investment is really critical. We are not a funding agency. There are lots of funding agencies across Canada and around the world that will invest in single ideas or even group ideas. The concept of co-investment is that if the industry partners around a particular proposal are convinced that that proposal is going to be successful in delivering the solution that they've said it will deliver, they should be prepared to put their money in first. And so our industry partners are required to put their money into the project first, and then we follow with taxpayers' dollars. And some of you might say, well, that's a really unusual model. Why would industry do that? I'm going to show you some data in a minute to show you how powerful this model has proven to be. So first of all, the purpose of our supercluster is to solve problems. It's not to sell technologies. Secondly, the vehicle that we use is collaborative innovation and co-investment. And then a third principle that we operate on is speed without compromising outcomes. We believe that if you bring organizations together and they sincerely, deeply look at a problem and listen to each other's ideas, they will come up with solutions that can form the basis of a proposal and eventually a project. And if they don't get that done, then they move on to some other vehicle or some other program, or they do something outside of the supercluster. So we are very much driven by industry, and this slide shows you some of the projects that we have and a very short or small sample of our members. So how have these 3 principles really played out in the last 2 years that we've existed? We have a portfolio of 67 projects. Our industry investment in our technology leadership programs and our capacity building programs. We have 3 programs. Technology leadership is what it sounds like. Capacity building is all about the talent development that Jay spoke to. And then we have a COVID program as well that I'll talk about in a minute. Industry investment in our technology leadership programs as of the beginning of July is at 59%. That means that 59% of the overall project value is being provided by industry. That in and of itself has demonstrated to us that this model has relevance to industry. In our COVID program, we were asked by the Government of Canada at the end of March to develop a program to rapidly address issues arising from or being exacerbated by COVID-19. We launched that program in April. We closed the program July 1st, having fully invested our $60 million fund against a portfolio of proposals that landed over 700 with $1.4 billion in value. So again, industry came forward very strongly with the COVID program. So what I'm going to share with you now is just a few summaries of some of our 67 projects, and then I'll show you a slide in terms of what all this data looks like visually in terms of our investments and the outcomes we're delivering. So first project on the left-hand side here of the slide says XRAI, we pronounce that X-ray. And this project is bringing together organizations to develop technologies, and they're already being deployed, to use machine learning to enhance the accuracy of interpreting lung X-rays. And this was born out of our COVID program, where we realized in remote rural areas of Canada, of which there are many, there were health centers that didn't have radiologists on staff all the time. And this was affecting the ability of the staff that were on duty in interpreting X-rays quickly, especially in patients who could have compromised lungs. So this project came together very quickly. It has been deployed already using machine learning to help these non-radiologist trained technicians interpret X-rays and provide faster patient care. The second project I want to speak to you about is augmented reality for inspection. Imagine that you're an engineer, and you're an engineer who is accountable for inspecting a large vehicle, let's say a train or a plane or a ship. This project is developing a tool that will display data in an augmented reality dimension to improve the accuracy, the safety, the cost, and the speed of inspection of large vehicles. And you can imagine how impactful that will be to a number of sectors. Our Autism Sharing Initiative, again, is a project that is focused on health, and it's creating a global network to share genomic data and clinical data to accelerate the delivery of treatments and therapeutics for autism, which, as we know, the autism spectrum disorder is a debilitating condition for millions of people around the world. This data platform that that our project is creating is the first federated data platform that has been created for autism, and we have a similar group of organizations. This project has 10 organizations working on it. Similar group of organizations creating a similar platform for sharing clinical data on the evolution of the COVID-19 SARS virus. And so we're taking this learning and deploying it into other areas. The fourth project is precision agriculture to improve crop health. One of the significant impacts of climate change is the disbursement of a condition called wheat rust. And wheat rust does just what it sounds like. It attacks wheat, and of course Canada is a very large producer of wheat, with a fungus that makes the wheat look rusty, look orange, and it kills the plant. Traditional methodologies for attacking this were heavily based on chemicals. And what this project is doing is using computational biochemistry and artificial intelligence to attack the genome of the fungus, and thereby reduce and eliminate this disease without the use of chemical pesticides. This project has caught the attention of agriculture sectors around the world, and we are currently in early stage meetings with some Indian organizations about how this can be deployed on a broader base outside of Canada. Our last project that I want to talk about is Freshwater Data Commons. And it may surprise many people, but there are very few data platforms for monitoring the health of freshwater bodies, rivers, lakes, streams, and creeks. And this project is bringing together a very large group of public and private organizations to develop the first platform that will comprehensively assess and then measure and then improve and protect the health of our freshwater systems across Canada. If we can go to the next slide, please. So as you can see, we've through those projects, we've got quite a diversity in the kinds of issues that we're addressing. Virtually all of our projects rely on some elements of artificial intelligence or machine learning, because that's how digital technologies are deployed. And so this slide just puts into picture form what I've been talking about in terms of our ability to move fast and the attractiveness of this collaborative innovation model that Jay spoke about to industry. On the left-hand side, you'll see the funds that we have received from the Government of Canada. So as Jay mentioned, $950 million was made available, and 153 of that was designated for our superclusters, digital supercluster. As of July, we have deployed nearly all of that money, all but $13.5 million, and we have leveraged it into $250 million of overall value. And that speaks volumes to the value that industry sees in this. It speaks volumes to the value of the model of collaborative innovation and co-investment. And it also speaks volumes to the fact that innovation can be done quickly. It can be done collaboratively, and it can be done in those two ways without compromising outcomes. In fact, it delivers better outcomes. At the end of the day, our supercluster is focused on solving some of the industry's and society's biggest problems through the development, deployment, and scaling of digital technologies, and thereby building a better Canada for our children and all of their friends, which include all of your children. So thank you very much, and I'll turn the microphone now over to my colleague, Julien Billot.
Good morning, and it's a real pleasure to be among you, and a real honor also to share the screen with Jay and Sue. If we can go to the next slide. I'm not going to repeat what our superclusters are doing, because obviously we have the same structure, collaboration, and industry are at the core of what we do. The specificity of Scale AI is initially to take advantage of the fact that AI is very strong in Canada, and also that supply chain is a critical activity where AI can really be applied. Supply chain activities are very strong in Canada. That's 10% of the economy of Canada is dependent on supply chain. And obviously AI can really well apply to supply chain, because supply chain is generating a lot of data. And so obviously you can apply AI algorithm to improve the way supply chain is deployed in the country. What's interesting, and I want to share that with you, is of course in Scale AI we have industrial programs, but very early we recognize that we need to build capacity for the country in terms of AI in two fields, one in the talent piece and the other in the scale-up program dedicated to startups. Let me come back to that. So for Scale AI, we have roughly $280 million to invest as public money with the support of the federal government of Canada and also the province of Quebec. And we decided to actually invest that money into 5 programs. You have the share of each of these programs on the left part of the slide. Basically 2 industrial programs. And these 2 industrial programs are really focused on helping AI implementation into supply chain industry. I will give you an example in the next slide. But it's important to note that we have decided, well, can you come back to the previous slide, please? Yeah, so actually for the industrial program, we have 2 types of programs. One is absolutely dedicated to companies that are willing to use AI to improve their supply chain activity. You can think about big industrial transportation companies like Air Canada or CAE or Bombardier or others. They need to introduce AI in their supply chain activities, and we are here to help. But we also recognize that AI can be introduced in product and service providers that can create new solutions, leveraging AI to create products for the supply chain industry. We call that program commercialization, and the goal is really to help startup platforms to develop new product leveraging AI in their supply chain activity. So 2 industrial programs. But we have decided to invest roughly 2/3 of our money in this industrial program. But we have also decided to spend 1/3 of our money in what we can call capacity building, as Sue was alluding to. One is around talent. We recognize that AI is a new opportunity for Canada, but you need a lot of talent to exploit that opportunity. And you need talent in 2 ways. One is in fundamental research. Canada is strong in a fundamental research in AI, but we have decided to try to increase that capacity by funding industrial research chairs dedicated to AI and operation research in supply chain environment. We have also decided to invest a very significant amount of money, around $50 million, to support workforce training and workforce management. So improving the ability of workforce in Canada to better welcome AI innovation and digital transformation. So this talent program is really one cornerstone of the Scale AI supercluster programs. Well, we are also recognizing that small companies, startups are key for innovation in Canada. And if Canada wants to grow and create wealth and prosperity for the country, part of it will come from young and small companies. And so we have dedicated a specific programs to support SMEs and startups, but not directly, through incubators and accelerators. The reason for that is obviously we don't have the same amount of money that VC and private equity can invest in companies, but by helping incubators and accelerators that support startups at very initial stage, we can really help to develop new competencies and new companies in the field always of AI applied to supply chain. So this scale-up program is really designed to help incubators and accelerators help startup grow faster for startups obviously dedicated in AI and supply chain. And finally, of course, we invest money in our ecosystem management because part of the role of all 5 superclusters, as Sue and Jay alluded to, is really to make the glue between big industrial partners, small companies, and industrial research. And of course, we invest some money into this ecosystem. You have on the left, more or less, the repartition of money between the different programs. 2/3 of our money goes to industrial programs, 20% goes to workforce development and talent, 8% goes to SME scale-up and support to incubators and accelerators in Canada, 6% less goes to operation, and 3% to ecosystem development. So if you go to the next slide this time, I'm going to introduce some of the successes we had and some of the projects. So first of all, of course, let's talk about industrial projects. We have funded more than 20 industrial projects, and we have exactly the same type of ratio that Sue was working between private investment and public investment. On our side, on these 20 industrial projects, we have invested $40 million, but industry has invested $70 million. So that's a really good ratio. It's almost 1-for-2, meaning every dollar we invest of public money, industry is investing $2 in these projects. What's also very interesting in this project, some of the names possibly you recognize, like Air Canada, Bell, CAE, or Thales, some others less, because we try to fund projects for big corporations, but also small companies. And some of these projects are companies using AI to improve their supply chain operation. You can think about Air Canada, you can think about Bell in the telco industry, you can think about CAE or Thales, but some of the projects are really us funding companies that are growing new platforms to support AI solutions. A company named OVA is working on virtual reality to help the maintenance in very complex systems. Plotly is developing new solutions to help AI being more easily used in terms of developing new application. Cadillac Fairview, that's a big real estate group, is leveraging AI to simplify the way people navigate into malls and specifically critical in this COVID environment. Alaya Care is a company where we invested for some projects to help caregivers allocation of resources. So these projects are very different. The strong message I want to give here is some of the projects are made with big companies, but most of our projects involve SMEs, and 75% of the money we invest actually goes to small and medium companies, which is a very strong message we had from the government of Canada, and which we are delivering on, which is funding small and medium companies in their digital transformation. The second type of programs is really around training and about talent. We have already a commitment to train more than 10,000 employees that are committed to be trained in digital in the next 3 years, both in Quebec and outside of Quebec. We're also in the process right now to launch new research chairs with big universities in Canada, like HEC Montréal, Polytechnique Montréal, and University of Toronto, and more to come. We are ready to fund 10 chairs plus 10 research chairs plus in Canada for AI supply chain activities. And finally, I was talking about this SME scale-up program. We are right now funding more than 30 incubators and accelerators in the country to help support more than 150 startups per year that are doing and developing new AI and supply chain solutions. Some of the names possibly you know, Velocity, with the University of Waterloo, a creative destruction lab created University of Toronto and deployed everywhere in the world, including Paris, Oxford, Atlanta, Toronto, Montreal, and others, and Vancouver, and Mars Accelerator, which is one of the most famous incubator and accelerator in Canada, based in Toronto. So that's what we do in a nutshell. So if you have something to take from this presentation and for all these superclusters, is we have very common theme, which is really about, as Sue was explaining, collaboration, working together, creating value, and using public money to generate private investment. Well, thanks a lot for your attention. I'll now give back the floor to Jay, I think, for some words of conclusion, and then for the rest of your keynote. Thank you.